guys? It's Bootylix, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a Lancer guide for Tera console. So let's get right into skills. So for the skills, this is just going to be a basic overview of what glyphs you should use. If you're playing Lancer, you should know what the skills do, so I shouldn't really have to explain that, but I'll just give you a rundown on the glyphs that I use. Combo attack, don't use anything. You should never really use combo attack, and if you do, it's to regain mana because you're not using a Nostrum or a major battle potion, or your healer isn't using mana charge. For stand fast, you're going to want a shield counter, increase the damage by 25%. Shield counter is one of the main spells of how you keep aggro as a Lancer, and I personally increase the maximum RE by 500. I do this because in Velix Hold, especially hard mode, you're going to need to iframe a lot of things, and the more RE the better, because you can iframe a lot more and it'll take less RE depending on the glyph. That we're going to talk about the iframe glyph that I'm using. It's a bit controversial. Some people say you don't need it. I personally use it. Onslaught, I don't use it at all during a fight, to be truthful. If I do use it, I need to be done casted really quickly. So there's going to be a glyph on Shield Bash just for that, but again, Shield Bash could be interchanged with a Debilitate glyph that I'm going to go over in the video. For Challenging Shout, you're going to want to increase the speed casting by 25%. This is just in case you lose aggro, you can gain it back super duper fast. But yeah. For Shield Bash, this is going to just speed the casting of Onslaught by 25%. This isn't a mandatory glyph. You can honestly not use this if you wanted to. I just have it set right now, but I'm going to show you another option that you could use the glyph points to. It might be a little bit more helpful during some fights. For Guardian Shout, you're going to want to decrease the cooldown by 25%. You're going to want to use Guardian Shout whenever it's up almost. I use it up as many times as I can during a fight because it helps me and the DPS. For Shield Counter, this is going to be the most important spell for Lancer. This is how you keep and hold your aggro. So I do increase aggro by 100%, and I also increase the RE generation by 50%. My personal motto is the more RE the better, so why not? Leash, I don't use anything. I know some people use Leash to get aggro and maintain aggro. I think there's an aggro glyph. I never use Leash. I think it's useless unless you're playing PvP or dueling. For Debilitate, this is where I was talking about glyphing, where the Shield Bash glyph points can come in handy. For last boss Velix Hold, I like to use the increased effect duration by 100%, mainly because the boss attacks super duper fast and you have to watch out for a lot of things. So the increased duration always keeps up Debilitate, the 3 stacks on the boss. For Retaliate, I don't use anything. If you're getting knocked down as a Lancer, you're doing your job wrong. Infuriate, this just puts the boss in enrage. I don't have any glyphs. I don't use anything. I don't really feel the need to, but it can come in handy. Maybe it'll be more handy in the near future, I'm sure. Spring Attack, I increase the damage by 25%. This is Lancer's filler. Most of the damage comes from Spring Attack and Wallop. Excuse me. Charging Lunge, I don't use anything. For me, this is just more of a mobility spell. For example, second boss in Velix Hold, when you have to when he says be gone and you have to get behind the rocks, I kind of use this to get there quick, just in case the priest isn't going to be nice and just grip me. It's a lot easier to get behind the rocks on a brawler, but for Lancers it can be tricky sometimes, so this will definitely come in handy. You don't really need to glyph anything on this. For Second Wind, I personally enjoy using glyphs and would recommend most Lancers glyph the spell. I do increase cooldown by 25% and increase RE generation by 20%, mainly because if you're taking a large amount of damage, it's either because you're not doing mechanic right or you ran out of RE. And it's nice to know that every 1 minute and 30 seconds I can have 3/4 of my health back. Oh, I messed up there. Sorry about that. For Adrenaline Rush, you want to increase the attack speed by additional 10%. This becomes super duper handy. You're going to use this all the time to help the DPS increase the amount of burst you're doing on the boss, and it also increases the amount of RE you're regenerating as well as mana. And don't say I'm an idiot for saying that. I'm just saying that because the more attacks you can do, the more RE you're going to generate, and if you want to auto attack for more mana, it's going to go by way faster. For shield barrage, you're going to want to increase aggro by 200%. When you're not using counter shield, just spamming shield barrage. For Pledge of Protection, I wouldn't recommend you use anything. For Pledge of Protection and Iron Will, I kind of use them as fillers when the boss isn't on me or he's in an animation, and I can just give my team and myself a big shield. Menacing Wave, I never use this in a fight. This is a PvP spell. Completely useless to glyph. For Lockdown Blow, same thing. I kind of just spoke about Iron Will, but I don't glyph anything. Just use it whenever there's downtime in a fight. Already talked about Leash, pretty useless. For While Up, you want to increase the damage by 25%. While Up is your main DPS spell. It hits the hardest, and it also will help you keep aggro the more damage you're doing. For Backstep, I use Reduce RE cost by 100. I do this because in Velox Hold, you got to iframe a lot, and eventually during the fight it'll add up how many times you have to iframe, so I'd recommend you use this, especially for Velox. Nothing for Rallying Cry, I never use it. I always use Guardian Shout, and that's gonna be it. Let's look at the gear. Alrighty guys, for the gear, for the weapon, my personal rolls are going to be increased damage by 9.3% to enraged monsters. I do that twice. Another roll you can use is increase overall damage. I think it's by 6% or 9. I'm not 100% sure. But if you're farming BAMs and you're not necessarily spamming dungeons, that might be a better roll for you. But enraged monsters by increasing the damage by 9.3% is what I would recommend. For crit power by 0.3% is always a good roll, and a mandatory roll, I don't care what else you're rolling, skill cooldowns by 7.2% is mandatory. For the etching, I'm going to use energetic, just increase the attack speed. Lancers have an animation lock here and there, so the more attack speed the better, I think. And for the crystals, you're going to go with threatening, wrathful, carving, and pounding. For the armor, for the chest plate, I'm going to roll spring attack by 15%. I would highly recommend you roll spring attack by 15%. It's a Lancer's filler. Anything else is kind of useless to what you should be rolling. I think the shield counter, I think it's a 10% increase, is completely useless. But for the other rolls, I'm going max HP by 8%, damage taken from frontal attacks by 6.9, and overall damage taken by 6%. For my etching, I'm going to be using grounded for the endurance, and I'm running hardy Nivets all the way. I know some people like to use the HP ones, HP crystals, 1 or 2. My HP's high enough. It's all good for me. But if you need more HP, sure, roll 1 or 2 HP increasing crystals. For your gloves, replenish 1% of total MP every 5 seconds. Completely useless. Attack speed by 2.25% and increase crit by 9. The only reason I have the 1% of total MP, like I said, it's useless, is because I don't believe that I can reroll into 2 attack speed or 2 crit. So I'm just kind of stuck there. Same thing for the boots. I don't think for the MP stat, I don't think I can reroll into 2 endurance. So I'm kind of stuck with MP. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but I'm rolling 2% MP, movement by 6%, movement speed by 6%, and endurance by 4. Now onto the jewelry. I know I don't have perfect rolls at all for the jewelry for Heaven's Boon or God's Boon. I'm not spending the scrolls to get perfect rolls on accessories that are not best in slot, so there's really no point. But for the crystals that I would recommend you roll, I would recommend you roll in 2 pristine grounding zerks for the endurance for a total of 4, and 2 swift for a total of 1% attack speed. But these swift zerks should honestly be pristine swift zerks, which are a 0.8% increase, so it'd be a 1.6% increase in attack speed, almost 2%. I just don't have the pristine ones yet. I should probably go buy them. For your brooch, I would recommend you run a simple cleansing brooch, only because if the healer isn't the best at dispelling, I've seen a few of them in dungeons and raids. It's nice to have every 6 minutes your own dispel, and also it becomes super 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 helpful. Say for Velik's whole last boss, if for the in and out mechanic, if you miss it by an iframe and the healer isn't the best at dispelling, you can instantly dispel yourself, and it'll save you a few times here and there, and keep the fight going. I don't use the endurance one because I roll 2 endurance crystals on my accessories, and my endurance is already through the roof. Alrighty, that's gonna be it for the guide. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave any comments or questions down below. I always appreciate them. And subscribe for more Tera content. I'm going to be posting a lot more in the future. And thanks for watching, guys. Peace.